Well, once again, I am joined by Chris Everett. Chris is the author of The Prescription for a Healthy Retirement. We have finally reached the last chapter of your book, chapter 8. Look at that book. So nice. It's an Amazon bestseller. Go and pick up a copy. But this chapter is all about the retirement shield. So you talk with a lot of different clients, lots of different backgrounds and life stages. But when you sit down and talk with someone about the retirement shield, you go over these 4 steps. So, can you break down what they are and how they're beneficial?
Sure. It's actually how we build the shield, right?
Hmm.
So first step is always taking inventory of what they've done. So I call it our discover step. Discovery conversation. We're really just diving in deep, asking a lot of questions. Most of my clients tell me that they learned so much from a discovery session. Things that they didn't even think to ask about, or maybe they thought were this way, but it's actually that way.
Hmm.
So it's really helpful to discover where you are right now as a baseline, and then we can build from there.
Gotcha.
After that, it's important to understand what some of your options are, because if you discover that what you have is inadequate, you need to make some changes. But you don't want to do that willy-nilly. You want to make sure that the changes that you make are well thought out, and they really work for you. They've been tested. After that, so you've discovered and now you understand, now you're equipped to make really good choices. And so remember, I always remember, it's not my money, it's your money. You're responsible for those choices. And so if you've been properly informed, you can make really good decisions then. And then step 4, we're there to be your implementation partner and just make sure everything's done correctly, done well. Then, of course, throughout the years, just visit with you to make sure everything is okay. You know, life changes every single year, sometimes many times in a year. So I have longstanding relationships with my clients, and we just
So cool.
review.
Yeah, and I love hearing that because what you're really providing for people is hope. I think so many people look at their finances and they either don't want to deal with them because they're too overwhelming, or they start to deal with them and get overwhelmed and just feel hopeless. And so I think it's so cool that you have the chance to come alongside people, point them in the right direction, customize a plan that works for them. But I'm sure that there is some pessimist that's watching or is listening and is saying like, it's too late for me. It's too late in life, or I've done all this stuff and I just can't recover. So is it ever too late to start thinking about the future and what plan would work best for you?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, earlier today, in speaking with someone new that was deciding whether to hire me or not, their spouse was like ready to go, and they were not. They were like, "Oh, I don't think I've done enough, or I'm spending too much, or whatever the reasons were." Actually, by the time we got through, that wasn't the case at all. And I was able to speak new information into him that he had never really considered before. And he said, you kind of took a monkey off my back. I said, that's my job, to help you not only be honest with yourself about what's going on, but then to stay in the process long enough to see what's possible.
Mm. I
So
think that's,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
oh no.
it doesn't matter too young, too old. There's no such thing. You've got to start where you are
Mm.
and then build from there, because there's always improvement to be made. Always.
And I was going to say that's such an encouraging thing to hear, because I'm sure there are people that find themselves maybe a little bit, behind the game, and they feel, or at least they feel like they are. And so I'm sure that's reassuring to hear.
I had a client delay talking to me for 2 or 3 years. I can't remember exactly. They were so embarrassed about where they. I'm like, come on. We wasted 2 or 3 years because you were embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's like going to the doctor. You got some kind of thing going on, and you don't want to go shop. That doesn't make sense.
Right. You're just kind of at that point delaying the inevitable and not working on things as quickly as you should. So that's good to hear. I appreciate that. What about your job do you find most rewarding when you go to work every day? What is that one thing that you're like, man, I hope I get to do this?
I do get to do and see breakthrough every single day. I
Hmm.
mean, come on. I love what I do. And I think it's why we get as many referrals as we get, because people are never pushed into anything. We on purpose take our time so that you're absolutely clear. And to see light bulbs going off over someone's head is profound. It's great. I love what I do.
That's so cool. And that's definitely not something that every person can say about their job. So that is such a blessing in your life that you're able to say that.
I recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. So, what about my husband and I, just so you have some context, my husband and I are in our 20s. We've been married for a couple years. What advice would you give to us as a young, kind of sort of newlywed couple looking into the future? What are some steps that we could take to just be in a good position financially?
Oh my God. If I could get my hands on every 20 something couple, do you know how much money you would have? Seriously,
Yeah.
seriously. Because think about it. I know a little bit more than you.
Hmm.
I've seen more things than you. And, maybe this is you, maybe it isn't you, but most of the time when you're in your 20, even 30 somethings, information pushed at you from the mainstream media, from the financial services industry, that is not always in your best interest.
Hmm.
It's always in their best interest. But how do you know that? So, by helping you see what's possible, helping you to understand some of the choices that you can make, that you should and shouldn't make, huge dividends for the
Hmm.
rest of your life. Huge.
Well, I would really recommend that every single person get their hands on a copy of your book. It is The Prescription for a Healthy Retirement. It's by Chris Everett. Right there, it's an Amazon bestseller. It is filled with just genius thoughts and really good plans. Yeah, and just ways to better yourself. And I so appreciate just your passion. You can clearly see that you love what you do and that you love helping people. That's what this is really all about. So it's so cool to see that and to hear your wisdom and hear your thoughts. I just love it.
Nice talking with you always, Bethany.